there are lots of things in life that men can and will forgive women for. Spending too much money, wrecking the car, booking a vacation that you don't want to go on, or dragging you to a movie that you really hate. But there are a couple things that are just simply inexcusable. The most prominent one is infidelity. Cheating holds a very special place in the hearts of men when it comes to unforgivable acts. So today, I want to talk a little bit about why cheating is such a big deal, why it means more to men than I think it means to women, and how men can deal with it. Understanding why this matters so much and how to break it down so you can better compartmentalize this issue. Because once it happens, it's very, very hard to recover from it. Let's talk about it. The first thing I think most women don't understand is that when a man gives his commitment to a woman, it is the single most valuable thing that he can give, because he is giving his promise to care and to provide for and protect until death do us part. I don't think women understand just how seriously men take this oath. It's not something that we take lightly. I think most women think of marriage as something it's, until disagreement do us part, or until dissatisfaction does us part, or until unhappiness does us part. But for men, it's one and done. Men do not enter into marriage with the idea or even the possibility that divorce is on the table. At least when in the beginning, when you're in your first marriage, we're very naive. We think, I'm going to be with this woman for the rest of my life because I love her with all my heart. And so, when a woman cheats, it is a violation of the highest order, because it is the ultimate sign of disrespect for the commitment that he made to you or to her from the very beginning. It undermines everything that he believed about his world. It collapses the notion that romantic love can be forever. If she cheats, he cannot recover from that easily. I don't know how men do it, quite honestly. I know that there's some men who have had their wives cheat on them. Maybe they were cheating at the time. Maybe that makes it easier for them. I don't know. But a woman who cheats is one that can never be trusted again. Ever. Ever. Now you can and you should forgive her on some level eventually, because you don't want to carry around all that anger and hatred and bitterness with you all over the place with you for the rest of your life. So I think that forgiveness in terms of benefiting you is something that's critically essential. But forgetting, that's something totally different, Just because you can forgive someone doesn't mean you ever trust them again. And I would suggest that you can never trust a woman who cheats again. Some of you may be asking, so what's the difference if a man cheats on his wife? Is he any better or worse than her? Well, it depends. More often than not, the reason why men cheat on their wives is because she cuts them off. Because she is using sex as a weapon in the relationship, and she is denying him the opportunity to have intimacy with her. And this is a very difficult and confusing thing for men, because intimacy is how trust is built in a relationship. So when she withdraws her intimacy from him, it feels like the marriage might be over. So I would say there is a huge difference. All healthy, intimate relationships are based on trust. And if you don't have trust, you really don't have anything. And so if a woman cheats, the trust is broken, and I would suggest that the relationship is dead. It's over. There's no point in having conversations about it. There's no point in digging up all the dirty laundry, going and sitting with some kind of a therapist. It's done. It's over. I would just pack my bags and get out and try to piece my life back together. Because without trust, you really got nothing. When my wife left me, within like 60 days, she was sleeping with her ex-boyfriend. Now, she claims it was not a monkey branch, but it certainly does look like a monkey branch. You know, I don't need to know what a duck is in order to figure out what one is. If it quacks like a duck, it waddles like a duck, it swims like a duck, it flies like a duck. I can figure out the rest, you know? And that's why the likelihood of us ever having another intimate relationship is zero. Because trust is at the core of the relationship. And if we can't have trust, then we really can't have anything. When a woman cheats, it's like she is stealing from her husband. She's stealing a piece of his masculine identity, and she is essentially taking it from him and throwing it in the trash. She's taking that piece of him that, that he identifies with as a man, because she's basically telling him that she sought out another man's intimacy, sex, because he wasn't good enough. That's essentially why men struggle with infidelity with their wives. It's a direct effect on, I want to use the word ego, but not in an inflated ego, like in a narcissistic kind of way, but in who they see themselves as, their personal identity. And when you steal that, or when you destroy that, or even chip away at it, it takes a long time to recover from it. It's something that most men, quite honestly, are not prepared for. And when it happens, even just the thought that she would do something like that is beyond comprehension. And I can't really put it into words strongly enough, just how much of a betrayal that act is from a man's perspective. It literally tears down their masculine identity, and it tells him at some deep and profound level that he just wasn't good enough. And that's one of the main reasons why a man can never forgive his wife for infidelity. We men are extremely visual, and so we visualize the infidelity. We visualize our wife with another man. And that's a very hard thing for any man to stomach. It can elicit rage. I mean, I'm sure that there have been crimes committed as a result of that image in a man's mind. So when women play with infidelity, or they go down that path, they don't know just how volatile that issue is and how it can lead to all kinds of terrible outcomes. It's like playing with fire, it really is. And the imagery that men have about their wives with another man is enough to make them crazy. So women, if you're watching this, I strongly recommend that if you have cheated on your husband, you make sure he never finds out about it. People ask me from time to time in my sessions, after they have cheated, whether they should come clean. And the only answer I can give them is, if you think that coming clean will help your partner in any way, shape, or form, then you should consider it. But more often than not, people want to come clean because it cleanses their guilt, makes them feel better about themselves. And I'm afraid that is not a good enough reason. Yeah, you cannot clear your conscience by coming clean. And in fact, I would suggest that coming clean will only make you really, really dirty. You're just going to have to live with the guilt of what you've done, and just know that if it ever comes out that this happened, it's the end of your marriage. Flat out. You have to remember that society puts a lot of expectations on men to do a lot of dirty jobs that nobody wants to do. And so men being strong and resilient and self-reliant and masculine is extremely important. And so society as a whole pushes this agenda. And that makes it very difficult for men to forgive infidelity because it is an affront to their masculinity. It is an affront to who they think they are as a man or who they believe they are and what society expects them to be. So forgiveness directly, to take a woman back after she has cheated, is seen as a sign of weakness, as a sign of not being strong enough to find someone better. If you're taking back a cheating woman, obviously it means that you can't find a better woman. And so you are submitting yourself to this woman. And I would have to say that maybe there's some truth to that. Now, again, I want to separate the issues of forgiving and forgetting, because forgiving is for you. Forgetting is for her. You're not forgetting. You're forgiving, so you're not carrying around the bitterness. You just write it off. You say, screw her, whatever she wants to do, it's her life. She can do what she wants. I don't need her crap in my life. You let it go. But at the same time, you have to understand that forgetting is something completely different. I mean, if your best friend steals from you because you left him, let's say you left him a case of beer. That's a better one. You left a case of beer at your best friend's house, and you go back because you want a beer to hang out with him, and the case is gone. Well, you can forgive your friend for that, but you will never leave a case of beer at his house again, right? Right. Now, the infidelity is a lot more serious than that. So you can forgive her. You can say, all right, fine, I'm not gonna trust you ever again. I will never allow you to do that to me again. And I will assume that you've just got some kind of emotional whack job problems that are beyond my ability to diagnose or deal with. But I will not allow you back into my life. I will not allow you to ever do that to me again. You are out of my life for all time. I'm not gonna carry around the bitterness. I gave you a shot. I gave you my commitment. I gave you financial security. I gave you everything you ever wanted, but you threw that back in my face. And so now, you can fend for yourself. Good luck. But I'll forgive you for it. I'm just not gonna bring you back. Plain and simple. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that respect was the #1 violation that occurs. And it is. But the part of it that is so much harder to recover is your self-respect as a man. And that's the part that involves some level of forgiveness. Because it's not just about forgiving her. It's about forgiving yourself for putting yourself in this situation, or being married to this woman, or whatever it may be, that you feel you carry some kind of guilt or shame with. If you're carrying guilt or shame, or you feel like you're less of a man because of what's happened, then you've got to find a path back to restoring your self-respect. Because the fact that she was disrespectful should not reflect on you personally. It should not be something that you internalize in any way, shape, or form. Other people's behaviors are just that, other people's behaviors. They are not a reflection on you as a man. Having self-respect means having your values, your standards, your boundaries, your goals, your dreams, your life, but also understanding that people are going to be people, so don't be surprised when they act like people. And if you married a woman under any conditions, because you were too young, too stupid, uneducated, thinking with the wrong head, whatever, that turned out to be a lemon, like you bought a bad car, just think of it like that, Like, shit, I just bought a bad car. I got a bad deal. I got a raw deal. Doesn't mean I'm a bad guy. It doesn't mean I'm an idiot. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that she was a bad person, and I need to do better picking the next one, or I need to avoid them altogether, whatever you want. But you can't beat yourself up forever. You gotta give yourself a little slack. You gotta forgive yourself. And sometimes that's why the forgiving her thing is part of that process. Because when you emotionally let go of the anger that you have for her, then you're also going to be letting go of the anger that you might have for yourself. And it just helps. It just helps you get through it, because then you can just release it and you can say, all right, she's just behaving the way she's behaving. It's not a reflection on me. You know, I don't know what's inside her head, what problems she's dealing with. Like I said, what kind of psycho woman crap was going on in her brain. You know, who it was she was talking to and she thought was a good idea to do this. Yeah, just let it go. Let it go. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in this unfortunate incident. Understanding all the issues that are affecting us as men when a woman cheats on us is really critical, because you've got to be able to identify those feelings, those emotions, those psychological, I don't know, those mind, you know, screws, and see them for what they are, because it's not you necessarily. It's the situation. It's the society that we live in. It's the conditions that we live under. There's so much more to it than just the act of her cheating. Finding a way back to your self-respect and your ability to function and trust again is the most important factor. You've got to find a way back to who you were, to who you are as a man. You cannot allow this to be the thing that defines you from now on. This event was unfortunate, and it's on her. It's not on you. So don't take responsibility for it. You have to be responsible to an extent, because you need to be able to respond to what's happened in your own interest, not in hers. You've got to be able to find your way back to self-respect, and that's what you've got to do for yourself. At the end of the day, you've got to define yourself in your own terms. You can't allow other people to define you, and you certainly can't allow events that you had no control over to define you. So as a man, you've got to look yourself in the mirror, and you've got to be able to respond to what's happened, but you can't allow this to be something that changes your ability to be your best self going forward. Like, you can't allow this to stop you from trusting, or stop you from having relationships, or stop you from seeing the world, you know, in a positive way. You know, and I know that that's what happens with a lot of guys. It gets them down so bad. You know, it can really, really destroy their self-image and their view of life and everything. So you've got to really just understand that this is just her. This is all on her. And you got to move past it. The other issue we need to talk about is men who seduce or cheat with married women. You know, I think you guys are a special breed. If you're a single guy and you're out there hitting on married women and sleeping with them, you are a unique piece of crap. And I'm keeping my language clean here, but I'm just telling you, you need to go look in the mirror and see what you see. Because I'm guessing it looks like something I pick up from the dogs while I'm on walks, put in little baggies and throw in trash cans. Because that's what I think of you. Anybody who would have an affair with a married woman really needs to do some self-analysis and determine if he is a good man or not, because I think you're violating the very basis of our society, and providing her with that opportunity is, yeah, it's pretty low. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like and subscribe. And if you know someone who may be going through something really tough like this, please share this video with them. Maybe it'll help them compartmentalize some of these issues and find their way back to who they really are, and understand that they're not alone. Because I think that's what affects men the most, is they feel like they're the only one that's ever happened to, and they're not. And when you're going through it, you can feel pretty isolated. So, all right, you guys, stay healthy, and if you can, stay single.